December 3rd, 1990, an unknown manga artist would make his mark on the scene with a timeless entry into the genre. Creator Yoshihiro Togashi would debut with what could be considered his magnum opus, Yu Hakusho, a paranormal battle manga with detective stylings and chic 80s aesthetic. The series was a hit with 78 million copies in circulation since its first printing, slowing down only due to the deteriorating health of its creator. In the 30 years since its debut, we continue to see its influence in works such as Bleach, Bungo Stray Dogs, Jujutsu Kaisen, and many more. The evolution of shonen has seen bits and pieces of its narrative structure utilized, tracing their origins and development back to the series. We'll explore how Yu Hakusho breaks the mold of standard shonen to tell a story that anyone can relate to. So, let's dive right in. Togashi chose the wayward delinquent Yusuke Urameshi to star in his hit series. This character comes from a broken home, his mother's an alcoholic, his father out of the picture, and the only support system he has is Keiko, a classmate and childhood friend. He's careless about his future, doesn't find much meaning to life, and expresses himself through violence and brawls. His rough exterior, however, dissipates when the life of a young boy is placed in danger. Sacrificing himself to save the young boy's life, it turns out that Yusuke tipped the scales of fate with his premature death. Togashi goes on to show us what these youth who aren't given the opportunity can achieve if they're given a second chance. Yusuke becomes a champion for Earth and molds himself into a hero through trial by fire, in spite of the odds that tell us that people of his ilk belong in jails or dead. This adversity is characterized by the mentors and adults in Yusuke's life, who underestimate him and his cohort. Some actually go out of their way to sabotage them.
I don't believe it! That no good teacher erased my last answer!
At every step in the series, Togashi attempts to subvert expectations and show both sides to each coin. This is in large part why the antagonists of each arc are versions of Yusuke if he were to give up his essential self. Toguro, who loses his humanity after he's unable to protect his closest friends.
Throw off the bags of guilt and you can become as powerful as me. Give yourself control. Believe in nothing but your own strength and it can never let you down.
And Sensui, who loses his ability to love when he faces the horrors humanity is inflicted on other worlds. Each is holding up a mirror to Yusuke's ideals and in that way helping him to find meaning in his life and find the resolve to continue to look for the good in people and the world itself. To build on the elements discussed prior, we'll turn to the Dark Tournament, considered possibly the best tournament arc in all of anime. One of the biggest subversions comes in the form of Yusuke's power-up. After suffering from the loss of his best friend in Kuwabara through a self-sacrifice prompted by Toguro's goading, Yusuke finally lets his emotional guards down.
No, this is your fault, right? For living in a constant state of repression.
It's not what the audience is expecting from the brash loudmouth who's quick to cursing and fisticuffs. What he proceeds to do after awakening this latent energy is to break the facade of his tough guy exterior. He proceeds to cry.
You took my teacher. And now I let you take my friend. What the hell do you want from me?
He lets himself get hurt. He wants to feel the pain because he believes he deserves it. Yusuke is a lot of things, but the last thing you could describe him as is someone who's in touch with his feelings.
I just didn't know how to reach it. And I have to live with that.
Like a lot of the audience for this type of manga, shonen is made for and catered to adolescent boys, and this demographic being one that's taught that they have to bottle in their emotions.
Yusuke is locked in a struggle with his own emotions.
Or that it's okay to let it erupt when facing difficulty. Togashi subverts the rage-induced power-up for a more melancholic, almost desperate view of power. But Yusuke, who has all the power in the world, is now trapped in despair. He can't bring back the ones he loves with it, so what use is having it in the first place?
Somewhere inside, I respected you, you know that? Let's just say I haven't had many older guys to look up to. And what you seem to have going, it didn't look so bad. But I saw your strength, and how no one could boss you around no matter what. And I wanted that.
The villain Toguro is made to face his folly at this basic truth, that you're stronger when you have something worth fighting for. Yusuke's emotional maturity is the moment where the shell of his understanding is broken.
Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician, and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility.
Of course, this narrative switch is short-lived, as in classical shonen form, Kuwabara is brought back to life. However, the point still stands. Our time on Earth is short, and to deny filling your life with moments spent with loved ones and toiling to create and preserve those bonds would be akin to losing your humanity.
He left us so he could keep his youth and his precious strength. Everyone has to fight with time, to find their place before their inevitable death. Toguro, he ran away from that fight. Don't you ever do the same. No human is ever a one-man show. Every decision that you make will affect the countless people who care about you. Do you understand? You can't just be a cocky kid anymore.
What sets us apart from other creation is this appreciation and gratitude for life's blessings, however transient those moments are. In his sequel series Hunter x Hunter, we're shown the perspective opposite of Yusuke, the protagonist Gon, who, unlike Yu Hakusho, is very boyish and naive, deals with the loss of a close friend. Gon comes from a loving village and home. Unlike Yusuke, he makes friends easily and is entirely too trusting. He believes that everything will work out in his favor, and is shown through the exams to get his hunter license, which he secures by being stubborn, recklessly endangering his life multiple times to achieve his goals.
それにこの対決はどっちが強いかじゃない。最後に参ったっていうか言わないかだもんね。
Often getting scolded by his friends for his behavior. Until he loses his mentor Kite, he's not faced with any serious loss in the story, and the way he handles it, similar to Yusuke, is by bottling it in. Unlike Yusuke, who's been bottling his feelings his entire life, Gon's mental paradigm shifts completely. He becomes granite, non-responsive and callous to even his closest friends.
Damn it! Who are you? Why should I wait? Why should I do anything you say?
Hardened by the world, Gon explodes into a mess when the perpetrator of Kite's death is unable to put the pieces back together. The hero breaks and, through bitter tears, beats the villain to death. Togashi here shows the consequences and weight of our emotions again, as a cautionary tale against hubris and entitlement. It's also indicative of a world that's very unforgiving to boys, who, because of its expectations, can't help but become hard men. These moments in his two-hit series are probably the most memorable, and it's because of that commentary. In Japan, where suicide is an alarming issue, and many lose their purpose in life due to feelings of being trapped or not being able to express themselves emotionally, these series give voice to that feeling of angst and despair in the future. Finding a healthy outlet to express ourselves through friendship and doing good in the world is key to making our way out of these low moments. This isn't the only place where Yu Hakusho differs from the popular shonen tropes of its time. After defeating his greatest foe in Toguro, Yusuke is at a loss for what he should do next. He's defeated his greatest adversary and must tackle the next big bad as is expected from these stories. The cat and mouse game of battle manga necessitates increased stakes and power levels. However, Togashi again chooses to take risks. He shows Yusuke lose due to his hubris multiple times, keeping his ego in check.
I beat Toguro. Then after that I assumed everything else would just be a big old piece of cake. And then some rogue spirit detective has to go and open up the frickin' gates of hell!
He then proceeds to show how important it is to have friends who can help you keep focus on what matters most.
You rose to the challenge. It seems you haven't lost your spirit power, you just needed a kick in the ass.
And then finally, he even sacrifices his main character to show how difficult moments always lend themselves to the growth and strength of the group. Self-sacrifice in this series is rewarded with the elevation of not only the one, but the many.
Urameshi, you died a hero's death, sacrificing your life to save billions of others. You've lit our torches, and I won't let your death be in vain, even if it means I'll be joining you soon.
Something of an aside to this, but worth discussing at this juncture, is as an answer to people who wonder why anime is so popular in the Black community. Well, it might not be a surprise considering how many of our households are similar to one such as Yusuke's. It's no surprise to me that we gravitated toward these stories as an escape from a reality that isn't so willing to dole out second chances. I remember how strongly we related to him, if not in ourselves, then in our environment, where violence and aggression are the only answers to being a man. Togashi found a way to subvert even that shonen trope of unbridled emotion and anger being the power for the protagonist. He does something that not many artists at the time were willing to risk, by showing young boys it's okay to cry. It's okay to not know what the right answers are, and that there's real risk to not developing emotional maturity.
I really need to go back to therapy.
Yu Hakusho tells the timeless coming-of-age story through its protagonist Yusuke Urameshi, from the very first episode with the message that nothing's written in stone, and that heroes can be found in the unlikeliest of places. And the end of the series shows us how to deal with close friends growing apart through time, and overcoming your differences for the sake of that friendship. There's a little something for everyone in this series, and it's a strong reason for its staying power. Great characters, an excellent story, all wrapped up in the lesson of how important it is to do your best, especially when times are hard, because that's when you'll find out who you really are. I want to thank you all who stayed tuned in. I hope you can give me a like, subscribe, and comment if you appreciated anything about this video. Feel free to explore my channel more for other essays. If you're so inclined, my Patreon is set up now to help the channel grow. And as always, thank you for watching.